Dieter, you are a FinOps practitioner.
Yes.
You're an ambassador.
That's
and
true.
You are an author with O'Reilly Media Series. This is something. You are YouTube creator, Dieter, and this is all about FinOps discipline, adoption, and practical advices for larger community. Dieter, again, we're so privileged to have you on today. Why don't we get started?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Dieter. So FinOps, right? So many people already know about this discipline. Why the developers, why engineers or finance people should know about what FinOps is? Can you quickly summarize and we dive into some practical points we announced today?
Yeah, absolutely. So not many people know, right? They think FinOps is financial operations. That's actually not correct. FinOps is a know of finance and DevOps, right? Stressing the communication and collaboration between business and engineering teams, right? FinOps is an evolving cloud financial management discipline and a cultural practice that enables organizations to get maximum business value by helping engineers, finance, technology, and business teams to collaborate on a data-driven spend decisions.
That's a mouthful. Let's dissect it, Dieter, because with your experience, you've been working with FinOps, discipline and tools, Netflix, Google.
Then called Cloud Financial Management since 2013, right? At Google, Netflix, Intuit, and currently at Roku. So I started actually at Google, where they hired me to find inefficiencies in their internal cloud offerings, right? These inefficiencies can then be taken and moved into their public cloud offering. And so this is where I learned cloud from the ground up, right? How it works, how all the components are, how to take services and move them. That was necessary because Google back then was growing more than they anticipated. And building a data center, it takes about 2 years, right? So it's a long time before you have new capacity available. So they needed someone to find inefficiencies. And then when I moved to Netflix, I basically learned Amazon Web Services from the ground up, and I continued doing the same type of work.
Beautiful. Then you are just the right person to answer some of the practical questions. More and more, I see jobs for FinOps practitioners out there. What do people do when they have FinOps in their title?
So, cloud FinOps practitioners, it's actually fairly simple. We only have two levers that we can pull, right? We have rate optimization and usage optimization. So rate optimization are things like enterprise discounts, private rate cards, reservations, reserved instances, savings plans, committed usage discounts, those kind of things. And then the usage optimization, while we can surface it centrally, it has to be done decentralized by the engineering teams. And so this is what I want to emphasize in this call. Rate optimization can almost exclusively be done centrally by just one person or a small team, right? For example, if you need renegotiating a very large contract with a large cloud vendor, you may want a couple of people to help you with that, maybe someone from finance and so forth, right? But it's essentially a very small group of people that can do that. However, usage optimization are things like right sizing, re-architecting, cloud parking, using more cloud native services, going to like serverless and those kind of things, right? The recommendations can be surfaced centrally, but the execution or the deliverable of those recommendations has to be done decentralized with the engineering teams. So each engineer is most familiar with the workloads, right? And they have intimate knowledge about it. I'm just one FinOps person, and there's 2,500 engineers or 3,500 engineers. So over time, I will build more knowledge, but ultimately, I can't have that detailed knowledge with each individual in the engineering team, what their workloads look like, how they're spiking, what their needs are for batch processing and so forth. So we do need the help of engineers to step in and look at those recommendations and act upon them.
Yes, that sounds easy, Dieter, or you make it sound easy, right? So can you explain to us then engineers and their accountability? all right? Because we're talking about rate optimization and cost optimization. So before optimization, what about visibility first, right? Because you need to see what you're optimizing. So what's your take on this? Where to start? Mhm.
Yeah, cost visibility in the cloud is the first thing that you do in your cloud FinOps journey, right? Ideally, you want near real-time cost visibility, because when an engineer starts an experiment and the experiment is is live, they want to go and look at how did the experiment perform, right? How much did it cost? What is the latency? What is the customer experience, right? What are all those parameters? So cloud cost should be made available to engineers in near real time. Now, to be able to have cloud cost in any useful manner, because let's say you have an account or a subscription or a project on the GCP side, there may be multiple workloads running in this, right? You may have a mobile front end, you may have a database in the back end, you may have some software in the middle that does something, right, that gives you a competitive advantage. So for these kinds of situations, you need tagging to or labeling on the, depending if it's in a containerized workload, right? You need tagging to help you out so that you really can say, okay, this engineer started this workload, this is the new workload, this is different from the old one, and you want to see what the cost implications are of that workload. So it's not just important to have the visibility into the financial aspects of your cloud workload, but it's also important for anomaly detection, right? Ever so often it happens that an engineer does an experiment, they turn something on before it was supposed to be scheduled to be on, and there's now a cloud cost that we didn't anticipate, right? So for these cost anomaly detections, it's not really helpful when at the end of the month I tell you that you spent $80,000 over budget, right? All you can do then is just be sad. It's much more useful if an hour later you get an email that would be in a fully automated fashion, right? Saying like, hey, we saw a cost spike that will amount to $80,000 a month. Is that something that was intentional?